Now this is white balance. Hi, welcome to the... I can't remember their names.
Cyril...
Stuart and Cyril Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one do you want to be?
I'll be Stuart.
All right. Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. I'm Cyril Marcus.
And I'm Stuart Marcus.
And this is our review of...
Keep Calm and Be a Superstar.
We're doing a tag team review because I was supposed to have watched this movie at the premiere, but I was feeling rather under the weather. So someone else went instead because he's the person that invited me, and he invited me because he's in the movie.
Yeah, so I was there by myself crying because Cyril didn't show up. No, that's not
As
true.
opposed to he'd be there crying if I did. But first of all, obviously I'm not objective anyway, but he's not objective because he's in the movie.
I'm definitely not objective because I'm in the movie.
Right, but you're definitely in the movie, which is more than I can say for some of my appearances.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
First of all, having worked on the movie, I kind of knew what it was about in advance, but I only worked on a part of the movie, so there was a whole part which was kind of I had heard about or seen in the previews and hadn't seen firsthand, so it was actually quite surprising. So that said, I was expecting it to be a really stupid, poorly made comedy, and it was actually, not because of the people I work with, but just because in general, I expected kind of a throwaway comedy.
Yeah, disposable.
Disposable,
Is it
yeah.
Vaguely neutral.
Chewing gum for the eyes, whatever you want to call it, popcorn movie. But it was actually slightly better than that. So I'm always a keep your expectations low and be pleasantly surprised guy.
Yeah, I'm usually a keep my expectations low and then go see a Wilson Chin movie and realize I didn't set them low enough. But that's not our story.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of felt the same way. One thing right off the top, although it is not yet Chinese New Year, this was apparently supposed to be a Chinese New Year movie. And as those of you who've watched some of my reviews know, I tend to be a bit extra generous during Chinese New Year because those movies tend to be kind of extra silly. So in that sense, keeping that in mind, I really didn't mind it because it was very light, funny comedy, very broad, kind of overstated, but within the context, again, of the holiday, I had no problem with it. It did look really nice, and the other thing that I was very impressed by were the action scenes. I remember thinking some of the action scenes in this movie, which is a comedy, are actually better than in serious movies. So shout out to all the guys that did the action work because it was really good.
So the action choreographer, I guess, action director was Jimmy Hung.
Yes.
Not Timmy Hung, but Jimmy Hung.
Right.
I get them mixed up sometimes. But Jimmy is the one that lives in Taiwan and has his own stunt team. So a lot of the guys that appeared in the movie as stuntmen were actually his real stuntmen. He had a tough task because basically both Eason Chan and Lee Rong-hao, who are basically the nominal two leads, and the girl Lee Tong, none of them are action people at all.
Right.
For real. Like in Eason's case, what was it, House of Phoenix or something like that?
Yeah.
Enter the Phoenix, House of Fury and Enter the Phoenix.
Right.
I think. He has done some action movies, but like for this one, it was a lot more than that. I would say as far as his action.
Yeah.
And I thought he did quite well considering.
Yes, and I think it was nice because he was visible through a lot of
Yeah,
it. You could tell it was really him doing it.
In the context of the movie, there's some parts which are not supposed to be him, or he's supposed to be like superhumanly awesome in martial arts because he plays an action hero who fakes it. In the parts where it's supposed to be really him fighting and stuff, it wasn't just cut and then do a close-up and stuff. He was actually like, rigged up on the wires and doing flips and stuff himself.
Yeah, definitely.
So definitely props
Yeah.
for that, for the whole action side.
Yes. And also, especially,
ahead.
I think within the context, Eason's acting. Eason had to carry the film because he was the star of the film. He was probably, I would also say, the best known of the three major
So
people.
keep in mind, I guess this goes into the bigger picture thing. This film is a Hong Kong movie through and through, but it is definitely aimed at the China market. So from the casting, Lee Rong-hao is one of those guys. He was on some Talent Voice China something a while ago, and he's now kind of an A-list music star in China. This is his first film. Lee Tong was in
Who's that?
the girl.
See.
She was in Legend of the Condor Heroes 2015 remake edition TV show. She's a competent actress for sure, but this was also her first movie. But then Eason is a bit unique because he has also been recently very hot in China because of The Voice or one of those other shows. He's like a judge on one of those reality singing shows. And that's actually the reason why this movie came out before New Year's, is because they kind of wanted to jump on the heat he got in the last season's finale, or whatever, which ended in the fall, I guess.
Right.
So originally, if you watch my commentary video, I mentioned it very briefly, my Memories of Making Movies video, they actually moved the date up to December. So the original trailer and all was like December 8th. And then they couldn't get it out in time. So it actually came out in January. So it tried to be premature, but then I guess they held out till January, and so that's why we're doing this video in January.
And because he's trying to be, I think, fairly nice and objective, what I was going to say is that Eason Chan acts very well in this film, and the other two don't really act very much at all. It's fairly obvious that they're new to movies, the guy much more so than the girl.
Yeah, again, being biased, having sort of worked with him, and then watching the movie, I would say after watching the movie, my big takeaway was Lee Rung-hao really was kind of, I don't want to say like too negative, but he was too wooden. I think wooden is the nice way to say it.
Right.
He didn't bring it on.
Yeah. A little too stiff.
Yeah, so, and there's some, especially because I'm not an actor either, like I can say, wow, I sympathize with him, because if you gave me that many lines, I'd probably stink up the scenery too. The girl, in that respect, was much better because definitely she has more background.
Yeah.
The other thing with Lee Rung-hao's performance, as seen in the Hong Kong edition of this movie, is that it's dubbed into Cantonese. And I think if the guy, no matter how good your performance is, if your Cantonese dubbing is by a wooden delivery, you're kind of at a disadvantage. So I'll give him some slack. Maybe the Mandarin one is much better. After I watch the Mandarin one, let's do an update and see if it still sucks.
We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, that's something I talk about that happens quite a lot, unfortunately, that you watch a movie that gets dubbed one way or the other, in the direction of one dialect or another, and it just takes things away from people, and it is almost unfair.
Yeah. That, and also, like, without the context of who he is in the media landscape in China, you'd just be like, why the f*** would you put... Oh, can I say that? Why the heck would you put this guy in this movie who's never, acted before, whatever?
Because he's on TV.
Because he's pretty famous, right? So it's like as if you did the first movie starring, I don't know, Justin Timberlake or whatever, some relatively well-known singer, and you're kind of taking a chance, and basically, I don't want to say it's stunt casting, but it's sort of, you're putting him in for the sake of his fame more than his acting ability.
Sure.
And
if people pay money to watch a bad movie, they've still paid money, which for the people who make those decisions, that's the most important thing.
And so that guy's got a lot of fans in China. So you kind of can't...
This week. Yeah,
you can't take it out. I think he's actually been around a couple of years, and not like just starred on. He didn't just win like The Voice yesterday or something. Yeah, well. But basically, like, you have to, if you know that, it sort of makes sense why he's there. Yeah. I wouldn't say that excuses, the results or whatever. The other thing I want to say about, speaking of acting, is like, I mentioned it also in my making of movie, but like the thing with Eason was, even though he hasn't actually made a movie like in, I don't know, like he hasn't made a mainstream Hong Kong movie in like 8 or 9 years, since like the Hooked on You or one of these fishing, the fish love story or whatever with Miriam, is that he's actually a pretty freaking good actor. Like, having been there trying to act, and I was like, dude, he's way, way better than I think I could ever be. And I guess it's part of it just being a performer and being on stage all the time. But like, he could memorize lines, he could spit them out the same every take. He brought like that kind of energy and emoting stuff that is the difference between us and like a real actor.
Well, you actually had lines in this movie. I never have lines.
Yeah, that's true. He's actually a better actor.
No, I'm not. I don't ever have to say anything.
Yeah. No, you yelled it.
I yelled. Yeah, yelled.
Get the fuck down.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of those actors, that sort of is why you would be watching this movie in the first place. And that's what they, I think, had in mind when they cast them. In the marketing aimed at China, if you ever see the China poster, it keeps mentioning CP, CP, and I was like, what the f*** is a CP? Because it doesn't mean anything in Chinese. But it's Chinese internet slang for couple. So they were trying to make this like a bro, buddy comedy kind of thing, which it sort of is.
Okay.
But that was like the marketing spiel that was used. So that sort of, within that context, that sort of explains how the story ended up the way it is and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't notice much bromance in the actual film, much chemistry, but that doesn't really matter.
Well, it was one-sided chemistry.
It
was Eason being gregarious and the other guy sort of standing there.
Like I said, I watched this movie go by. I didn't really watch it. partially because I was still feeling a little under the weather, and partially because very early on you can kind of discern this is not a film that you should really try to pay attention to and get deeply involved in. But again, that's not fair. I mean, the film, like I said, the action was good. The film does just sort of keep moving. I never felt as though it dragged. There was some very funny things in it. There were some very interesting subtitles. Very happily, I saw the word schlong appear in the subtitles twice. There may have been, it's hard to tell because sometimes when I take notes, the movies are so loud I can't even hear. Even though I'm talking to my phone like this, I still can't hear. I think there was a subtitle that was a brunch of conscience. And then the other was when the subtitle said someone looked like Steve Buscemi, the dialogue said he looked like Ronald Chang. And I don't know how you get from Ronald Chang to Steve Buscemi, but that's, you know.
Yeah, Ronald Chang's not that ugly.
No, not at all. So I have no idea. But the other thing that we should certainly talk about is the way that this film, in a very broad sense, for almost its entire running time, is really just a very big jab at one of Hong Kong's biggest movie stars who's not very popular here anymore.
Yeah, basically Eason's character is a giant Jackie Chan parody, and even in the doing my memories of making movies, I actually had to sit through and sift through every single like making of video that they put out, and they actually don't even try to pretend. High Risk, for example, the famous Wong Jing Jet Li one, which totally trashed Jackie Chan. Like they put enough elements in where it was a Bruce Lee parody too, so right. There's just a generally, even though it was mainly aimed at Jackie Chan, right. This one there's almost no other person they're aiming at. It's right. Basically just
there's
Jackie
other
Chan.
Movies they parody other movies.
They parody, but as far as like characters or real life people, it's just Jackie Chan. And that said, like, because when I was working on it, I saw the parts I was in, but I didn't see the before and afters and other parts of the movie. I have to say, if I wasn't Jackie Chan and I was trying to be kind-hearted or whatever, it actually is somewhat positive about him. Like the scenes where he's partying and womanizing and whatever, he doesn't really womanize that much. The scenes where he's like parodying him negatively are not that negative, and at the end of the day they're like kind of, okay, spoiler alert, they're kind of like, oh, he just wants to get like an acting award, not just another action award, because he's got a whole shelf full of Hong Kong Film Awards and whatever, but they're all for like fight choreography, and he just wants to get recognized as a real actor. And so in that respect, you're like, okay, I guess I kind of feel some sympathy for him, or he's still a jerk and a dumbass and stuff. But I have to say, like, and this is also a testament to Eason's portrayal, is that he actually makes this guy who's a jerk and an a-hole somewhat likable, which is probably the true testament to his abilities. Like, if you can turn a villain or a kind of gray morality type of person into someone that you actually give a shit about, that's actually pretty good.
In general, I mean, like I said, there were some interesting surprises. There's one that we could talk about, but it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to talk about it. You'll probably know what it is, but it was right near the end of the movie, and it just made me laugh because it was dumb, but it was unexpected, and it surprised me, and so that's really all I could ask for. This movie, like I remember thinking, there's a lot of the CGI. Some of the effects in it are actually pretty good. There's some pretty interesting like drone footage. But some of there's CGI explosions that are kind of bad looking, but it fits with the tone of the film. Plus, when you look at what's going on and who's involved, I don't blame movies when they do that. So that didn't even bother me. I enjoyed the movie enough. It didn't even bother me at the end because I felt like they knew they were being goofy, where there's one of those, haha, you thought you had a plan, but our plan is better than your plan, even though our plan hinges on you doing exactly what we thought you might do, even though we didn't know, and that's our plan. Haha, your plan sucks. And that didn't bother me because, at that point in the movie, you'd already been shown so much silly stuff that you didn't feel like you were expected to believe it or take it seriously.
I would say, like, going back to the thing about expectations, expect this. I would say, like, especially having worked on this film and also knowing and watching a lot of movies by the same director, Vincent Koch, like, he is directly the DNA from 1990's Stephen Chow. I mean, like, literally, he wrote most of those screenplays. And so this is, where Stephen Chow has gone off in this direction with mermaids and other things. Sort of, this is actually maybe more Hong Kong authentic, 20 years later evolved version of those nonsense movies. So there is a lot of like random jokes and parodies and a guy dressed up like Tony Leung from Infernal Affairs and whatever random stuff thrown in. So if you like that kind of stuff, which I definitely do, it's nice to see that somehow it still survives and has been, maybe it's been changed a little bit to be more China friendly or whatever, but it's not going to win any awards for highbrow writing or whatever.
No.
But it's like, okay, let's put in a random joke here about Infernal Affairs, even though it's like 15 years old movie or whatever.
Well, yeah, but is it TVB that's making a TV series out of Infernal Affairs, and that's a much worse joke to make. So I actually don't mind
to do a series.
to do it. Yeah. Oh, good thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
God forbid we should come up with something new. So, and this, I was too tall to be in this movie, wasn't I?
Oh yeah. So, I didn't actually mention in the video the commentary, but I actually helped cast, in addition to myself, I helped cast some other foreigners in the movie, and I really tried really hard to get in, but the silver spleen in.
Oh no!
Cyril in.
Yes.
But they said he's too damn tall.
Yeah.
Because he can't have a cameraman who's taller than the guy he's filming.
Exactly. Wasn't even a Donnie Yen movie, and I was still too tall.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was fun. I get the double experience of like having been in the movie or been on the set and then actually seeing what came out in the end. So for me, that alone was enjoyable. Yeah. But then I was surprised, surprisingly also myself, my scenes were actually done pretty fast. And then just watching the rest of the movie, there was all this stuff that I had no idea happened, including that big surprise, which I won't go into. I guess the other thing I want to say is this movie gets way better as it goes.
Yeah.
So the first 20 minutes, there's some really rough storytelling, just sort of jumps, and you're like,
the first act is a little...
Yeah, what's going on, all this stuff. But it really picks up steam towards the end, and I think that has a lot to do with Eason, too. Like, once you get sort of beyond the caricature, he's acting like Jackie Chan.
Once you get beyond the other two people...
Yeah, once you get beyond the other two people, and they start focusing on the scenes,
actor.
On the scenes where the main guy can really bring some dimension to beyond just the initial, he dresses like Jackie Chan or whatever, where he actually starts sort of doing stuff, you're like, actually, this is like a real movie. I've had this happen to me sometimes where I'm expecting so little out of this movie, and then it's like, it's actually a real movie. It's not just 2 hours of wasting my time.
That's good.
So I would say that's my takeaway. It's like, don't give up on the first 20 minutes.
Think of it as a Chinese New Year movie. That's the best thing you could do, because that way, like I said, it hopefully will make you a bit more generous. Not that you're really going to need it, maybe for the first 20 minutes, but after that, no, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, great. We should do the normal things. We can put the thing between us, or we'll do both of them. I don't know.
Yeah, we should.
YouTube doesn't give me any money. Doesn't give anybody any money anymore. So because of that, I'm asking you to click on the Patreon page. And please, if you could just send us $1 a month, we could get shoes, and our mother could get that liver operation, and I can feed the dog to my sister. I don't know. I'm just saying, but if you click on the link and send me a little something, make me watch a Barbara Wong movie again, because I hate doing that, and then I'll live stream the whole miserable experience. I don't care, but just please click on it. If you enjoyed this review, please let us know.
If you didn't enjoy this review, please let us know. I don't know. If you hate this guy, please leave a comment.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to help the poor kids in Africa who need bootleg DVDs.
Yeah, exactly. Child pornography. Oh, that God. Such an evergreen. Yes. So, and if you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. I look forward to doing more of these videos later, like as you said, for Agent Mr. Chan.
Agent Mr. Chan comes out February 14th.
We'll do another tag team double penetration video.